We hope you guys are having a good day today. We will get started here in a few minutes as well people come on in. Hey, DeFi Inc. Can you give us a quick mic check? See how you sound?
Hey, mate. How you doing?
Hey there, you sounding good.
Cool.
We will start with a couple updates for the week and then continue to you, DeFi. I'm sorry, DeFi. Still a quick update for the week. Everyone, happy Halloween. And happy Diwali. There's a Halloween event in Discord. If you scroll a little bit below, people are giving away NFTs, and you can also give away an NFT. There was Stargaze's 3-year birthday on Tuesday, and a large community-wide space where we discussed the last 3 years, what we're working on right now, and where we will be going. There are also marketplace V2 bug fixes, and on the governance side of things, there are 3 props on Commonwealth for discussion: marketplace V2 fee distribution, a GATA hub prop for Stars liquidity, and a Shade prop for protocol liquidity. And with that, let's go ahead and hear from Def Inc. Welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing very well. I believe this is your first project on Stargaze, right?
It is indeed, yeah. So just a little bit of history about me. I'm a graphic designer based in the UK. I've been in NFTs since late 2020, and mainly Ethereum. Done a few drops on Solana with not much traction. Just looking forward to kind of getting started on Stargaze. So seeing my man Faceman's listening in, he's the guy that got me onto you guys and introduced me to Stars, and was the one that suggested I try this out. So I've got him to thank for this.
Well, thank you, Faceman, for introducing Beth here. So you said you started NFTs overall in 2020.
Late 2020.
And you were a digital kind of collage artist prior to that. Can you tell us a little bit about your history with art?
Yeah, so I'm a graphic designer by trade, and I've been I've been doing art all my life. So collage is one of the kind of things that I do. I do illustration, animation. I just like play around and do loads of different stuff. So, but the digital collage stuff is something that I started to do maybe in kind of early 2021, and just got a feel for it and really liked the kind of medium and the stuff that I was like started to kind of play around with. So yeah, just carried on doing that. And I really just kind of carried on doing it for myself, because they're actually really kind of meditative pieces to work on, because basically they're constructed using like kind of found imagery, like CC0 stuff on the internet, just kind of patterns, color, kind of textures, whether that's kind of from nature or kind of man-made, and then just using those, cutting them up to kind of form these kind of like different geometric shapes and patterns, and then the illustrations kind of build themselves. The kind of collages kind of build themselves in a way, because you just start off by kind of layering it up, and then you just kind of sort of see where it takes you. And then, once you started kind of getting a background in and a few shapes and things like that, then you kind of get a feel for the piece and seeing kind of where the colorway is going and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a really nice format to kind of work in, because like I said, it's quite meditative. You just kind of like letting the kind of piece kind of go, and you're not thinking about anything else, really just kind of focusing on the pattern and what you're doing, and where you want things to kind of align. And yeah, so I really enjoy doing them. It's kind of different to a lot of the other work that I do.
Yeah, and this specific project that you're launching on Stargaze, Kaleidos is like kaleidoscopic type of.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the name Kaleidos comes from the Greek kalos meaning beautiful and eidos meaning form or shape. So it's that's where I got the name. That's where kaleidoscope, the word, comes from as well. Yeah. So that's the feeling around it. And with this one, I wanted to kind of focus on, so every piece has got like a central star shape in the middle that is consistent across all of the 12 pieces. So that was the first starting point, to have this star shape that is going to kind of carry on across all of them. Because I just wanted to have something kind of like alluding to Stargaze and the kind of cosmos idea. So that's where that kind of started from.
What was this? Was that found imagery, or what was the process in creating this?
Yeah, so I mean, like I say, the textures and the things the images that I use to then create the collage with are all CC0 images. So they're kind of open source images that you can just kind of download from the internet, and a lot of them come from the USGS, which is the United States Geographical Society, which are kind of satellite images that they take across the planet. And they're up on the internet. Anyone can download them and use them. I discovered these a while back, and they're just like such a rich source of textures and colors, and then that's kind of I use so found images to kind of then cut up and kind of create the collage with.
I want to believe you make physical collages as well. Do you know?
I don't know. No, I haven't done much physical painting or collage work for a very long time, since I was a student, really. I've been digital since for about the last 20 years. So whether that's drawing on the iPad using Procreate, or Photoshop or Illustrator, do a lot of vector work. So I've not done any physical collage work for a long time.
And can you tell us a little bit about kind of the history of how you came here? I know Spaceman originally introduced you here, and you started in 2020. What's your journey through NFTs in the last almost 5 years been?
Yeah, I know, right? It's been a long journey. So it was basically COVID. I was kind of during COVID and lockdown, I just started to do a lot of because the graphic design work that I would normally be doing kind of dried up a bit, and so I had quite a lot of time on my hands. And a friend of mine introduced me to the idea of NFTs, because he was heavily into kind of crypto. He was trading like Ethereum kind of coins and stuff like that, and like doing really well. And he said, look, there's this thing called NFTs. He knows that I was like drawing and doing all my artwork and stuff, and he said, look, you should give it a try. And so basically that's how I kind of found my way into NFTs. Started joined the kind of Rareable gang, the kind of early Rareable days on the Ethereum, which was a lot of fun. Just had a blast, like just creating a load of stuff and just experimenting, playing around. Like had some artwork that I'd already created, like that I had in a kind of portfolio of stuff, and sold some of that, and then just kind of carried on. Got caught up in it all. Loved the whole kind of culture, the fact that you get to kind of connect with so many different great artists. The whole scene just kind of exploded and overtook my life for quite a long time. Just started having fun, experimenting with art, kind of trying new things, created quite a few collections that kind of launched on Ethereum, and they did really well. And then the whole kind of Bored Ape thing blew up, PFPs, all of that kind of fun and games, and then watched that whole kind of cycle of NFT hype. Then hit the bull market, kind of dried up work dried up a little bit, kind of selling any work, but I just stuck around and just carried on kind of having fun, creating art, started trading coins and all of that good stuff. So yeah, it just really got 100% kind of like, completely engaged in the scene, met loads of really cool people, did some collaborations, and yeah, just had a lot of fun. And I think that the whole NFT scene for me has just reinvigorated my passion for art and given me much more of an outlet and a focus to actually kind of strive to do things that, create collections and create stuff that people can collect, because before that I was just creating art for myself, which is always good. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'll always be making art, but the fact that I can connect with people, and if people vibe and want to buy something, then that's awesome, because it kind of validates what I'm doing, which is always nice. As an artist, we all seek validation in what we're doing. And yeah, it's just a buzz when someone collects something and wants to kind of own a piece of your work. It's the biggest compliment you can get, I think. So yeah, it's cool. I love the scene.
Yeah, you definitely expand with the audience, each place you go to, right? I know you launched on now Ethereum, Tezos, Solana, and this will be Stargaze. So what have you noticed, maybe the differences in each market or community you decide to deploy on, and what are the differences with Stargaze?
Yeah, I think the thing that I really liked about Stargaze, like I say, Faceman put me onto it, which was really cool. And for a while, I just didn't have the time to kind of really invest, because each time you've really got, especially with Stargaze, because it felt quite different to me, because one, the whole structure of how Cosmos kind of works, and trying to get my head around, that kind of multi-chain, and the fact that, you can kind of do cross-chain, kind of transactions and all that kind of stuff, was took a bit of time just to kind of get my head around that. And then, Osmo Cake, who is a great guy, he kind of got in contact, and I think Faceman put me onto Osmo actually, and then I just kind of connected with Osmo, and he was really great in just kind of helping me to kind of onboard and understand a little bit more. Then Brady and Graphene were awesome. They helped me to kind of connect as well, and just kind of had a little bit more of the kind of learning experience with those guys. But the thing I think I love about Stargaze is it's quite a small community, and it still feels quite kind of unique in the space that you can, somewhere where you can meet a lot of people and still and engage with them kind of on a daily basis, and it still feel like a real tight community, because it's not when I first joined Wearable on Ethereum, it's quite big already, but you would be talking to some of the top people in the scene, you know what I mean? I was talking to Pranksy, and I spoke to Robness and Max Osiris, and all these kind of what I saw as OG kind of NFT guys. You could kind of just chill and vibe with them, and you still can, of course you can still do that, but the scene felt a lot smaller and a lot more kind of you could engage more with people, it felt like. And I think some of that got lost when Ethereum NFTs kind of blew up, and a load of kind of people came in, and the whole scene just kind of felt a bit watered down. Whereas on Stargaze, it kind of feels like those early days again, where you've got really nice community of people, and you can connect and have conversations, and everyone's really helpful, and it's just a nice vibe. So I'm really happy to kind of have joined and kind of getting involved. And I think it's also somewhere where you can see, because there may be the one-of-one art scene in Stargaze, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like it hasn't like really established itself as much as maybe some of the other chains. So it feels like there's potential for kind of like quite a lot of growth for artists, and kind of being part of that is it feels really good.
Yeah. Brady, welcome. You had a question or comment for us?
Oh, I was just hopping up to help pin some things, so I just threw up Def Inc.'s post about the piece. So if anyone's listening, you can take a look there at some of the samples. I do agree with that. Like, I think the environment is really cool on Stargaze, and like the community is really vibrant and engaged, and kind of that side of it where there's like individual artists and a kind of a collector culture and things like that is kind of steeping, I guess you'd say. It's like it's something there that's growing. Like, a lot of the volume is like really PFP based, but there is like a really great core of artists on Stargaze that are doing things, and I think it's something that we're going to see really grow over the next kind of year or so. So I'm really stoked to have you with us, Def.
Thanks. And thanks again for all your help. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I don't. Maybe I'll pop in with a question after a little bit, Ruin. Sorry, I was just up to do some pinning.
No, all good. Is there anything you may have done differently? If you were to start again, and any learnings from the last 5 years?
Yeah, probably. Probably. Take profits. Oh, yeah, for sure. I got kind of stung quite badly in the bear market. But yeah, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? I don't think I would have done a huge amount different. I think this phase is like, it's really difficult to navigate. There's a lot of ups and downs, highs and lows. 1 minute you can be, the hot topic, everyone's talking about you, and the next minute, everyone's moved on to the next thing. So I think it can be quite a brutal space as well. I think surround yourself with good people, which is what I've always luckily managed to do. Don't get caught up in all of the drama and all of that kind of, rubbish that goes on, because there's a lot of it. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy the drama as much as anyone else, but just don't get caught up in it. That's kind of my motto, because I think you can just get it can be quite snipey as well in certain places. So try and steer clear of that.
Don't take.
Yeah, I think as long as you're having like fun doing what you're doing, then you're always going to enjoy yourself, and I think you're always going to. I think as long as you always go with good vibes, you're always going to meet good people. Touch wood, I've been very lucky that I've not met too many like scammers or bad actors in the space. Like I say, I've always been really lucky with the people that I've met and know. So it's good.
Have you? What are your relationships with other artists like you've known in the past? Like, have you been able to bring them on board into the NFT community, or what do they think about your work?
Yeah, I mean, people have always kind of like, I've been lucky enough that people always kind of like what I've done, because I do like illustration and bits and pieces like professionally as well. So, I've always been lucky to be able to do something for work that I enjoy, and I've always been good at. It was the only thing I was ever really good at school. So, I've been really lucky to be able to kind of carry on and do that as a career. In regards to other artists that I know, I tried to kind of onboard a few people early on. They were a bit reluctant, didn't really kind of get the tech, get the whole crypto kind of thing, didn't really understand it. Then a few that I was talking to, the bear market hit and it was just brutal, and everyone was like, this is just dead. And I was like, yeah, he came at the bad time. So I didn't really like onboard that many people. But like I say, the people that I've met are all, awesome. So, I think, you make relationships with people and you make kind of connections that hopefully you're just going to carry on for like years to come.
Yeah, have you done collaborations with other artists in the space that you met since you've started in NFTs?
Yeah, I've done a few bits and pieces with people. Like again, Faceman's like a great ambassador for that. He got me working with a guy called Zaf, who is an amazing artist. We've done a few bits and pieces, and I've done a few kind of little collaboration bits early on. I did some stuff with Pranksy, like early days, and a few others, but yeah, I don't tend to do too much collaboration work. I think the stuff that I do doesn't tend to kind of lend itself as much as maybe some of the other kind of artists in the space. So, but that's cool. I just like do my own thing.
No, that's for sure. Right now, if there are any questions or comments from the community, please request to speak, and we will get you answered. You can also drop a question in the thread here, and we will answer your question. Do you have any advice for new creators that are looking to start their first project?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think, yeah, I don't know. It depends what you want to do. You know, I think trying to navigate the space can be quite difficult in regards to what work you're going to do, how many pieces you're going to release, and at what price. Because, of course, you have to build up a kind of collector base, which is probably one of the hardest things to do. I think I've had some people that have like supported me all the way. Faceman, nod to you, thank you, bro. But you know, again, you know, just keeping people engaged in the work that you're doing can be quite difficult as well, because there's so much noise. So I think always do something that you're happy with to do, to spend the time on, make it as best as you can, and don't have too many expectations about what's going to happen with it, because even people who are quite well established in this space sometimes struggle to sell work. So, you know, again, I think as long as you're enjoying what you're doing, and, you know, if at the end of the day it doesn't go quite as well as you might want it to, just know that, you know, you've done like, you know, an amazing body of work, and, you know, you've enjoyed the time that you spent doing it. And if you manage to sell any, then that's a bonus. That's kind of my philosophy with the stuff that I do. So
what's your philosophy and strategy on pricing one-of-one work like this?
Yeah, I mean, so I struggled a bit with this, with the pricing for this drop, because probably felt that, you know, I wanted to make sure, because obviously I'm new on Stargaze and people don't really know me, they don't know my work, unless they've kind of been following me like throughout. So yeah, I priced it kind of quite conservatively, just because I wanted people to be able to kind of, obviously I wanted it to sell out, but you know, just to kind of give people as a kind of entry point, I suppose, to me and my work, if they don't know me yet. So I think it can be, you have to be respectful as well of the, you know, the people that are going to be buying your work. You know, you don't want to kind of like price yourself out of the market just because you feel that you should, you know, be able to command like a, you know, high fee or something for your art. You know, you just got to kind of, you know, you got to be respectful of, you know, where you are and coming into a new space as well. So yeah, I just
thing to do, you know, you create the art when you think you're pretty much done, but then you have the economic side of things.
Yeah, I mean, that could be really hard. I think in the past, I've always tried to sell my work so that people can collect it, because I make work for fun. Like I said, if I wasn't selling the work, I'd probably be making, probably not as much, but I would be making the work anyway. So, you know, making money from selling the work is a kind of like an amazing benefit, but it's also it's maybe not my primary goal in, creating the work. It's making the work is the process, and as much in itself is for me than anything. So, I think that answers the question.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's tough. What are your plans for Stargaze after this collection? Just anything.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I've actually got it's kind of like a PFP, but it isn't. I guess it's a PFP project that I worked on like for the last couple of years, really, just as an offshoot of another series that I did called the NFT Key. So they would like these kind of like tiki masks, and I created a load of them before I ever got into NFTs, and then I kind of found them on a hard drive and was like, oh, these guys are cool, these could kind of work as NFTs. So I kind of carried on creating a load, and they took off like really well, and I did I think I did like 3 different seasons of these kind of these tiki guys, and they were really fun, and I like always enjoyed doing them. And they were kind of similar. They're not collage, but they use a lot of pattern and bright colors, which is where a lot of my work is kind of focused on. And so I then did an offshoot that was, because I started to understand, because these were all built like one of one, like handcrafted in Illustrator. And then I discovered how to do like generative, so managed to kind of like create a mint engine so that you could kind of like, kind of create a generative project by creating all of the assets. And I really enjoyed that, because there's something really beautiful about generative art, that you can create a whole bunch of assets and then chuck them into this algorithm that just turns out like these amazing kind of different things. And even as the kind of artist, I'm always surprised whenever I hit the kind of generate button when I'm testing stuff to kind of see what comes out. And there's always stuff in there that you wouldn't even like imagine. Some of the the traits when they're all come together and they work really well. And I just really enjoy that whole process. So they're called Cheeky Tikis, and I'm hoping to launch those on Stargaze fairly soon, because I think they'll work really well as well, because they're really fun and vibrant, and they've got like a nice vibe to them. So I think they'll be quite cool. I'm going to try and pin some stuff if I can.
Yeah, I see them. They look really cool. Nice textures, almost like a what do you call it? Like a totem, like a Native American.
Yeah. I mean that was kind of like they were kind of based on like the tiki mask was the originals were a bit different to this because these are like a generative thing. They can't be quite the same as what the originals were, but it's all based off the same kind of vibe and the patterns and everything. So so I'm hoping to launch those on Stargaze. But everyone go and follow Cheeky Tiki, because I need to get the follow account up.
Will there be like a whitelist or a drop for people who buy, if anyone gets the one you're launching now?
Yeah, 100%. No, I'm all for a whitelist. I think that's one of the things actually that just seeing how things are done on Stargaze, and the kind of tokenomics and all that kind of stuff it feels slightly different to a lot of the other chains. So it feels like it's kind of fun. Like whitelists, a lot of people on Ethereum stopped doing whitelists like a while ago. But it's nice to see that whitelists still exist on Stargaze, because I think it's actually a really great way just to kind of reward people, and you can do kind of like cross project collaborations, like whitelists for these guys, etc. So yeah, I think it's cool. I like it. But yeah, I'm still working on that one. Brady, I'll probably have to hit you up and get some advice. So yeah, no, but it's going to be a fun one. It's a fun one to do.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the whitelists are it's a great way to like really target like active users or like, the most engaged people, on any platform. So it's, they're definitely a big part about Stargaze. I was wondering actually on the topic, because you said like that's a little different. I was wondering like if you've spent much time engaging with any communities or collections on Stargaze, and if there's any that like kind of stood out to you or resonated with you.
Yeah, I mean, there's some that I've not really like kind of dug really deeply into it, I must admit. But I mean, I've kind of been speaking with Chris, shout out Chris, and managed to like snag some of his drop, and Farn from the Shitmoss team, managed to hook up with Flan, so that was cool. I think some of the projects that I really like is the expedition work. I see that we've got Puff DeFi in the house. I love the expedition stuff. I think the art on that is just like absolutely top notch. Again, Creepy Companions, amazing work. The Mad Scientist, love all the Mad Scientist stuff. I just think there's some like really amazing art on Stargaze, and it's like just a hidden gem, really, I think. And the thing as well is that a lot of the work is like still reasonably priced, and it's a great way for people that are new to the scene. It doesn't always cost the earth to kind of like mint something and get involved, which is nice.
Yeah. I'd like to then still invite anyone who has any questions or comments for Def here. Please request to speak.
Don't be shy.
Good. Yeah. No, we got some shy. We got a little bit of a shy community. Usually we have one or two people pop up. This is also a good time to like you mentioned, thank Brady and Stardy and Sirkin, who help all of our projects get up and launch. That's why we are having this conversation.
Yeah, completely. No, I think the onboarding process has been really great. Everyone's been super helpful, and I'm really looking forward to just kind of getting involved and being able to kind of engage with a few more projects, and hopefully start it's a great opportunity to get involved with something that's quite unique, I think, in the NFT space.
Yeah, we've got Face Stan up here, the guy that introduced you to Stargaze.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hello, mate.
Hey, what's up, man? This is actually the first time I've heard your voice since we started just killing and buying art, and 4 years ago.
Yeah, man, totally. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay, man. It's good to finally hear your voice, and I'm happy that you finally decided to get on Stargaze. I had to bug you for a while to get you on.
Yes, you did. Yeah. I think you first kind of told me about it, and then I just I was really interested because I saw that you were minting your collection, which is awesome, like the 8-bit stuff. I loved it all, and I was just like, "What are you doing? What's this? What's this? Where's this Stargaze? What's that all about?" And then you kind of introduced me and like said, "Oh yeah, you should definitely check it out." And then I was just like caught up doing other bits and pieces, and just finally got round to it. And it's cool. I love it.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you jumped on that, because I don't shill a lot of stuff, so. If I was pestering you about it, it was going to be good, then, because
totally.
Yeah, I started on Stargaze in January, right at the first day or two of the new year, and dropped 8-bit cities. And I'm glad that Def is here. He has a lot of dope art and a lot of different styles. I got several of his pieces on Ethereum. And when I first started in crypto and started collecting NFTs, he was one of the first artists I was collecting from. And, it was definitely a different time back in 2020. And I could say that Stargaze is probably like the closest thing to like Rarible 2020. And, I'm just excited to see what Def has in store for us.
Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah, no, it's like I said, it's reignited my enthusiasm to kind of like create art and, sell art again. Because like for me, the whole Ethereum, it just got it so crowded and the space just like there was so much noise there that I think the vibe definitely disappeared for me on Ethereum some time ago. So it's nice to kind of definitely get back into a chain where the community's a lot tighter and everyone kind of knows each other again. That's something that I've been missing. Yeah, so for sure.
Yeah, thanks, Faith, man. You did mention that the whitelist may be ending on ETH, but we're diving full into them with tiered whitelists that will be arriving very, very soon. So if there's any project, if there's any project,
I think it's definitely a good shout.
Yeah, like you said, it allows you to kind of like control the minters and give them a little, preference either on pricing or like timing and strategy as well. So it's going to be a nice update when it comes out very, very soon.
Yeah.
Talking about this specific project, what was the most challenging thing about it to get this one out?
Do you know what it was? It was about, I think for me was like getting a kind of balance, because the art is it's something that's kind of it's the first time that I've actually, like, with the kaleidoscopic kind of collage thing, tried to kind of create a series of pieces. Like the stuff I've done previously was just I just kind of create stuff, and then like whatever it ended up looking like was kind of cool, because it was just it didn't matter what the end result was really, because it was just about experimenting and just kind of like having fun doing the piece. But this time around, there definitely needed to kind of have a thread that ran through like the collection. So that's kind of what I was saying earlier on, was that central star was the kind of starting point. But then the part of the thought was also about the forces of like the kind of cosmic dance of the universal forces of light and dark, chaos and order, which started to kind of play through some of the pieces. So the traits are actually kind of based around that. There are kind of like keywords that each piece kind of resonates with, and whether the piece represents light or dark, chaos or order. So that was kind of quite fun to kind of just play with. I guess some of it was like post-rationalizing that when it came to doing the traits, but it's like I said, these pieces are I guess they've got a kind of hidden depth to them that it's quite a nice thing to kind of like experiment and play around with that whole kind of universal forces idea, which is really where deep down I think a lot of this kind of comes from, because of the subject matter, because you're using like natural, like the images are from nature, so there's some of them can have like real strength to them, and they're almost kind of semi-religious, I suppose. There's kind of like a iconic kind of nature to them, without kind of trying to sound too pretentious. But yeah, so I think for me, it was just kind of getting a collection that felt balanced between the kind of light and the dark, chaos and order, and the kind of vibe around all of that. I'm massively into physics and quantum theory and all of that kind of stuff. So I guess there's a kind of, some of them are, the names of them are actually kind of reference that kind of that whole side of my science interests. So
what are some of the names, if you don't mind?
I'm gonna have to. One of them. Hold on. You've got me now, because I've got to go and find the names. Bear with. But yeah, I name them all kind of after the fact. So I generally tend to try and create everything first. I'll usually create more than I need so that I can then go back, pick which ones I wanted to kind of use. So one of them is called Planck's Peak. The chaos frequency, coherent state, Dante's constant, eternal distraction, God complex, Goliath symmetry, iridescent dreamscape, quantum seismic, Sentinel's gate, surmountable abstraction, and terror vibration. So those are the names, which is quite fun coming up with all of those for them as well.
Names for one of my personal favorite things. Coming up with name. Do you have a personal favorite or one you're particularly more drawn towards?
The one that I really like actually is Dante's Constant, just because I think it's quite different for me than the rest, and it's quite angry. Not that I'm an angry person, but I just quite like the vibe. It's kind of and the reason it's called Dante's Constant is because it just reminded me of like the colors in it. There's a lot of reds and a lot of gold, but it reminded me of a kind of hellish, almost chaos scene. So Dante, obviously referring to the poet and Dante's Inferno. That's where that one came from. But yeah, there's nothing too deep. I think, like I said, when I'm creating them, I don't really ever think of anything around that. I'm just literally just like picking out colors, shapes, seeing what the piece ends up looking like. Because, like I said, you just kind of start with a background layer. Like in this instance, it was the star shape, and then just like fill the background in and just play around with the textures, see what's kind of working, and then dropping colors in, and then the colors start to build, and then you kind of get a vibe for, right, this one might be blue or green or like reds, whether it's dark or light, so then you start to kind of like really kind of build it up from that. So there's never too much kind of like deep thought in all of these things, but like I say, it's quite nice to post-rationalize and name after the fact.
Yeah, you're kind of layering things on and experimenting and like adding and subtracting and trial and error type of work.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, the thing is as well, once you've done a few of these, you get a vibe for kind of, how to kind of create them. So I'd say that the process that I had when I first started has gotten way more complicated, and but you get quicker, and you kind of get to kind of know what works. And so even with this process, I started to kind of build in Adobe Illustrator. Like I started to actually build these quite complex grid systems that could then be used to create the works from. So it's getting the whole process is kind of evolving throughout, every time I create, especially with this series, but every time I create one, there's a learning process that you take onto the next. And, I kept referring back to stuff I'd done previously to sort of see what worked and, what would work again, and trying to get enough variety as well, because sometimes they can start to feel quite samey. And that's one thing I didn't want to do with this collection, was have anything that felt like too similar. There are definitely some that feel more, like part of a collection, and others feel a bit more individual. But I don't mind that. I just think it's nice. It's nice to kind of have that variety in there.
Yeah, and I believe there's only 12 pieces, right, total?
Yeah, there's only 12 in total. So it's pretty rare.
Very, very few. I don't suppose you're familiar with some Stargaze artists, Sebi and Drew. They've both done some large works on Stargaze.
I think so. Yeah, I've definitely. Yeah, the names definitely sound familiar, and I've seen. Yeah, there's been some really good collections where, they're more, art-based collections, which I think have been really exciting to see.
Yeah. There's also a small fine arts group I think Brady might know more about that one. I'm not sure what that is, but
Small ruin.
small. It's
You mean
growing.
growing.
It's growing.
Growing fine arts group. Yeah, we've got the art DAO set up, and definitely you hang out on the Friday space quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like that's a cool thing about you with this launch is that you've like been quite engaged for a while. You know what I mean? Not really like. I mean, maybe for some people this is the first time they've heard you speak. Some people listening, but you've been hanging out for quite a while and engaging, which is like always really cool to see prior to someone launching. But yeah, you got the art DAO.
Yeah, I've just been just listening in and seeing what people are up to, and I think I've definitely tried to be trying to get in on some of the action as well. But I'm looking forward to like maybe being able to invest a bit more in other artists, because I think that's the other thing as well. The thing that I've always done with whenever I've managed to kind of sell any art is I always reinvest back into collecting other people's work, because that's one of the other things actually about NFTs is I think I mentioned it the last time I spoke on a space actually, was just that whole thing of like supporting other artists and kind of vibing with other artists and what they do has always been like a massive part for me of being in this scene, is being able to collect other people's work. I mean, I've got that's like some of the work I've collected in the past is just like insane. I've got some like really top tier work from amazing artists, and I've been really lucky to kind of get in early and be able to do that. And it's something that I've always enjoyed doing and want to carry on doing, is being able to support and collect art that I love, which is really the kind of the main reason that I stuck around and enjoy being here, is because I just love to kind of see what other people are producing and being able to collect their work.
Yeah, with absolutely. And I guess if I can show the art DAO for a minute, what we've done is we have a DAO on DAO on Stargaze, and we've gotten donations from a few people, and we're using those funds to like mint. One of the activities is like using those funds to kind of just like mint small collections as they come out, and add them to a gallery. Over time, I'd really like to build it up to be this like kind of independent thing that's just controlled by artists, that with no affiliation with the Stargaze team. Like I'm involved currently, trying to kind of help out and get it going. But eventually, I think it's better if it's like totally autonomous from the Stargaze team. But like one thing for artists, I think in particular, when it's like a single person that's doing the art, and they're also doing the marketing and things like that, they have this like trade-off for their time. Like it's like, okay, how much time do I spend working on art versus my the engagement side of it? And there's also like a part where it's like, okay, maybe the stuff you create has like a particular tone to it that is different than like who you are. Maybe you're making like really serious work, and then you're a very like silly, relaxed person in this space where it's like you're out promoting and stuff like that. I think there can almost be a disconnect in a sense, or maybe it's like awkward for people sometimes to like to speak about their work, or maybe they want to keep some distance from it in a sense, or keep the two things separate. So like one thing we're trying to do is build this kind of neutral thing that's just like spotlighting, really cool stuff, cool small releases and things like that on Stargaze. Another cool thing that we're doing is an upcoming drop with contributions from a few artists on Stargaze. It'll be the first one. It's just like a small thing, kept it small as possible to start. I think it's 8 pieces, one-of-one contributions from 8 different artists on Stargaze. And the plan for that is for it to be kind of a season thing. So maybe every quarter. I'm not sure exactly on timeline after the first one, but, do the first drop and then do a second drop with 8 different artists and so on. So that's kind of one initiative we have. And the Friday space is part of that as well, that we've been doing since the start of the year. Shout out to Maria, who like co-hosts that every Friday, and also someone who's like been amazing for her support of creators on Stargaze. But yeah, that's all I have to say for my brief promotional thing for Art DAO. But I think it's a a pretty cool thing, and I pinned a tweet from it there if anyone wants to give it a follow.
Thanks for the art DAO update.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's definitely something I'd be interested in getting involved in as well. Because I think, that's definitely more of a kind of the kind of vibe that I think is really important to help to promote people's work. And I remember actually that piece that Domina put up. I saw that the other day. It's awesome. I loved it. So yeah, definitely something that's good to promote. And I think, giving power back to the artists is something that NFTs has definitely done. And I look forward to, pushing that agenda forward even more. So, 100%.
Yeah. All right, guys, this is going to be our last call for any questions or comments. Please request to speak and get on up here. As it's Halloween, I'm obligated to ask you guys if you guys are doing anything or dressing up as anything for Halloween this year.
Well, it's 8:00 in the UK at the moment, so I think all of the trick-or-treaters have now disappeared from our door. We did actually decorate our porch so that, we had a few kids come by this earlier on, which is nice to see. But yeah, my kids are all out. They're all teenagers, so they're all out causing trouble on the streets probably. So I'm just happy that we've managed to kind of distribute enough sweets to the younger kids in our community, and my job is done. So hopefully no one's knocking on my door anymore.
Halloween's almost done there. There's a guy in the neighborhood here who's made a very elaborate looking like haunted house in his front yard. He's been working on it for about 2 or 3 weeks, like with actual construction material. So I'm trying to check that out.
That's insane. I think that Halloween in the US is definitely something that kind of puts us in the UK to shame. It definitely seems to be a kind of holiday that you guys really celebrate, and it's always interesting to see, especially on like the world of social media now. You see so many like cool things on TikTok and all the other kind of apps, Instagram of all these crazy ideas and crazy things that people do, and the States is definitely one of those places where everyone goes all out and does some really cool stuff. So yeah, it's always fun to see.
Yeah, I mean, even at Stargaze, we had the Halloween drop, and there are more than a handful of collections doing that as well. But I do have a little bit of a hot take. I do think the times I've been trick-or-treating in Canada, I did get better sweets and candy. So, Canada's got some competition for that, at least.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention about your project or about yourself before we wrap up here? Anything we didn't cover?
No, I don't think so. I think that's it. But thank you very much for having me and giving me the opportunity to talk. And again, just wanted to say thanks again to everyone who's managed to kind of get me to this point. And looking forward to kind of doing good things. So yeah, it's cool.
Thanks a lot for joining us, and have a great Halloween, and everyone have a great Freshman Friday tomorrow. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, take care then. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.